Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the Paul Ricard circuit for the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Race 1 of the weekend. As the 70th anniversary of Ferrari continues with the tour of the Ferrari Challenge this year, we are at the Paul Ricard circuit in Le Castellet in the south of France for this round 4, having already visited Valencia, Monza and Budapest. As you can see, we are at Le Castellet with Silverstone in the UK, Imola and Mugello for the glittering finale mondiale still to come. So just over halfway through the calendar for 2017, and as is usually the case, it has provided some great race action for us from the Ferrari Challenge. So Paul Ricard, Le Castellet, we are about an hour from Marseille, maybe 30 minutes from Toulon on the south of France, the 5.8 kilometre Paul Ricard circuit, which has some 16 turns, 7 left and 9 right, and at either end of two straights. It's quite a technical circuit, which the drivers during qualifying found quite challenging. Some harmless high cloud above with an air temperature of 27 degrees and a track temperature of 41 degrees. It is a perfect afternoon here in Le Castellet, and a goodly number of people to enjoy all the activities throughout the paddock and also on the track for the Ferrari Challenge weekend, as we are on board with Robin Jensen, who was on board our table at lunch just a few moments ago, making his way down the grid, as indeed is Philip Barron, who will be going from P4 on the grid. The Rosso Corsa driver with the distinctive green livery across his new for 2017 488 GTE, which is the Ferrari Challenge car for this year. Man of the moment, without question, is Daniele Di Amato. 13 wins in the Ferrari Challenge, and 4 of those wins have come off the incredibly successful run of races he's had at Monza and Budapest, where he's taken 4 wins out of 4 starts. Andrea Gagliardini goes from alongside him, and his best finish thus far has been a P3 in the opening round at Valencia, which is a round, incidentally, that Daniele Di Amato did not make. But despite that, his 4 wins sees him in a very commanding position in the Trofeo Pirelli Pro points chart. Pro drivers and AM drivers compete in the Trofeo Pirelli, and there is a pro driver with the white sunshield. AM drivers have the black sunshield. And there a little snapshot of the Le Castellet town, village, and of course the Paul Ricard circuit. Good qualifying from Sam Smith, the UK racer, who goes from P5 on the grid. Top 10 placements are 27. 96.42% across his career in the Ferrari Challenge. Sam Smith, who's very much looking forward to a home round next time the Ferrari Challenge cars take to the track, which of course will be in Silverstone. Philip Barron goes from P4 on the grid. Philip Barron, another hugely successful Ferrari Challenge racer, going from P4 on the grid, driving for the Rosso Corsa team. There is the number 72 car of Mads Ed Ektistrand, who goes from P15 on the grid for Scuderia Autoropa. And they're just a few of the spectators that are adorning the grandstands here at the Paul Ricard circuit, which of course plays host once again to the French Grand Prix in 2018. And they're the lineup of the Trofeo Pirelli cars. So, as I mentioned, then a mix of pro and AM drivers. Pro drivers with the white sunshield at the top of the windscreen, and the AM drivers with the black sunshield. We have a couple of last year's 458 cars in the grid as well. They have the blue sunshields, and it's Gallipatar in car number 242 and Walter Durenberg, who goes from P19 on the grid, also in one of last year's 458 cars. Here's Marc Genet now to tell us more about the race car for this year.
Ferrari engineers have done a great job developing the car in an area that we racing drivers know is extremely difficult, and this is the electronics and the traction control of this new 488 challenge. Have been developed to a way of perfectionism that is extremely difficult to achieve. And what we want to achieve with the traction control is two things. The first thing, very important, is we want the electronics to adapt to your driving style, and that has been achieved by having two manetinos. And also, by having two manetinos, which briefly going to explain you just now, also you are able to adapt the car to the track conditions, for example, to the tire degradation. And this is done with the right-hand side one that tells you when traction is active. So you can delay or anticipate when traction is going to come active. And the second one, on the left, is for how long traction will be active. And that way, we know for sure that traction control can always be adapted to every driver's driving style.
Thank you very much, Marc Genet, talking about the traction control of this new 488 car. And of course, there is an awful lot for the drivers to contend with on the steering, with all the controls that they have as well in the new 488 GTE car. However, just last night, the drivers did not have to contend with such controls as the celebrity kart race for not only drivers, but engineers, various other team members as well, got underway. It wasn't an entirely clean affair all the way through the race, but it was thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. The start alone provided something of an excitement with the jump start, which went unpenalised. Some of the pit stops were hairy, that's for sure, and some of the on-track antics equally incredibly hairy. But above all, in the true spirit of Ferrari, it was a phenomenal victory for the Formula Racing team, but it was a phenomenally good night with lots of great fun as well. So the Rosso Corsa team makes their way off the track now, ahead of the start of race one in Trofeo Pirelli. What a fantastic shot that is, with the mountains in the background. And there is the Pirelli engineers making their way down the pit lane as well. So start is just moments away. Always the case in Ferrari Challenge, it is a rolling start for the cars, and here's the grid in full for you. Daniele D'Amato goes from P1. Andrea Gagliardini is alongside. Then we find Bjorn Grossman and Philip Barron on row 2 of the grid. Row 3 finds Sam Smith and Tommaso Roca is the best of the AM drivers, going from P6 on the grid. Then we find the UK racer Chris Froggatt. Then it's Alessandro Vezzoni, Jens Liebhauser, Mark Musso. Welcome back, Mark. Then it's Contini and Cartu before we see Nelson Jensen, Ek Tidstrand. Then it's Christian Overgaard. And beyond Overgaard, it's Pierre Nielsen. Then we see Gallup Attar, Walter Dorenberg, and David Gosner. So Daniele D'Amato then, incredibly strong. And once again, he gives us another pole position.
Wonderful pole position. For me, the first tire to be here, and very, very happy. The car was very technical. I had a great oversteer, but the lap was very, very amazing. And thanks for the team, and it's a great feeling to be here.
Well, Daniele D'Amato then goes from P1 on the grid, and well, it would be somebody very brave that would bet against him taking another lights to flag victory. But we will see over the next 30 minutes. The race will develop, of course, but Daniele D'Amato has done a great job in putting that car on pole position. Andrea Gagliardini, the car you can see centre screen now, is P2. Bjorn Grossman going from P3 with Philip Barron P4. As the Hublot safety car and the rest of the cars then make their way off the grid on their formation lap then. This is for the first Trofeo Pirelli race of the weekend here at the Paul Ricard circuit in Le Castellet. The cars will weave from side to side to try and generate some temperature into those Pirelli tyres. All the social media at the top of the screen for you. An interesting fact about the Paul Ricard circuit is that the runoff areas that are painted blue have a different level of grip to those runoff areas that are painted red. My colleague alongside me, Nico Spalek, it's one of the 462 fascinating facts he has about the Paul Ricard circuit. We'll get to the other 461 at various points during the course of the weekend. So there is the Hublot safety car being driven by former Ferrari champion Beppe Scanetti. What a driver he is. Had the privilege of going round this very circuit with him in the driving seat. And boy, that was a roller coaster ride like no other. On board with Robert Jensen, then the Scuderia Autoropa driver, who is in good team company in terms of where he is on the grid, because ahead of him he's got Martin Nelson, and behind he's got Matt Tidstrand as well. Philip Barron's rearward-looking onboard camera gives us the Rosso Corsa perspective then from P4 on the grid. And as you can see, the car's vigorously weaving from side to side to generate that temperature into the tyres. Ever critical in the early stages of the race. Alessandro Vezzoni had a torrid time in qualifying, and he's got two AM drivers ahead of him. Alessandro Vezzoni is a pro driver, and Alessandro Vezzoni only qualifying P8 on the grid. So as I mentioned, the circuit is really rather technical. That huge Mistral straight along the back of the paddock area, and then into a real technical section for the third sector of the circuit. There is Bjorn Grossman, and there is Philip Barron before we see the British driver Sam Smith, and it's Tommaso Roca, and then we find Chris Froggatt, another British driver, Alessandro Vezzoni, Jens Liebhauser, Mark Musso. And the safety car picks the cars up then, and they will form into grid order side by side ahead of the rolling start for race number 1 for Trofeo Pirelli. We will of course throw the lights to the top of the screen for you and allow you the opportunity to see the start sequence in full. There's that little trio of Scuderia Autoropa drivers all together, as I mentioned, and stand by. The excitement builds for race number 1 for Trofeo Pirelli. We're live from the Paul Ricard circuit, Le Castellet. So lots of jostling as they head towards the green lights. Then Andrea Gagliardini and Daniele D'Amato absolutely side by side. Martin Nelson, I think it is, diving down the outside here. Andrea Gagliardini, has he got the jump on Daniele D'Amato as they go into the first chicane? They are side by side. And Andrea Gagliardini and Daniele D'Amato, neither are prepared to give a centimetre. What is the inside line for one turn becomes the outside line for the next one. Also trying to buy into that is Philip Barron as well. Andrea Gagliardini has got his nose in front. There's contact from Daniele D'Amato behind him, but Andrea Gagliardini is leading the race, and trust me, that is not what we expected to see, because Daniele D'Amato has been so dominant. So Andrea Gagliardini then P1, Daniele D'Amato P2, then it's Philip Barron. Then we find Bjorn Grossman, Sam Smith, Alessandro Vezzoni. As all the cars make their way through the chicane, we're on to the second part of the Mistral straight now. Fairness, it was not the start that we expected. It's the first part of the Mistral straight, of course, because they're into the chicane now that splits that straight, and I think that's Chris Froggatt that didn't make it into that chicane initially. The rest of the cars do come through. I think it was Chris Froggatt. Yes, I'm sure it was. Black and white warning flag is being given to car number 25, Daniele D'Amato. And could his run of 4 straight wins in a row be threatened here? He's certainly all over the back of the Andrea Gagliardini car now. The start is under investigation, we're being told by race controllers. Daniele D'Amato is on the inside of Andrea Gagliardini. Gagliardini now is going to fight back. This is extraordinary between the two of them, and Bjorn Grossman gets past Philip Barron. Wow, so much going on, and we've not even completed one lap yet. But now that Daniel D'Amato has got his nose in front, the pace that he's been able to show previously would suggest that he will escape up the road. They're into the technical part of this circuit now, but Andrea Gagliardini is certainly not letting him get away. They round turn 16, the final turn, and make their way down the start-finish straight again. This is where Daniel D'Amato may be able to stretch his legs. D'Amato, Gagliardini, Grossman, Barron, Smith, Vezzoni, the top six. It's been a good start from Alessandro Vezzoni, who moved up the order by 2 places. And now Bjorn Grossman is really harrying Andrea Gagliardini, and sure enough, now Daniel D'Amato has got his nose in front. He has opened up a margin already over Andrea Gagliardini, who is under threat now from Bjorn Grossman, who is in P3 at the moment, but he's desperate to try and wrestle away that P2 position from Andrea Gagliardini ahead of him. So there is Daniel D'Amato then, that is leading the race now from Andrea Gagliardini, Bjorn Grossman and Philip Barron. Best of the AMs is Tommaso Roca in P7, Chris Froggaty's P8. Chris Froggatt and Tommaso Roca, and Chris Froggatt has got Jens Liebhauser for company as well. So now, all of a sudden, Bjorn Grossman is having to think about defending from Philip Barron rather than attacking the Andrea Gagliardini car ahead. History between Bjorn Grossman and Philip Barron. They've been really, really close competitors for a number of years now. There's D'Amato going through, and this allows Andrea Gagliardini to breathe a sigh of relief just for a moment, as he's able once again to try and concentrate on narrowing that margin that Daniel D'Amato has already built of over a second. There is the race-leading car. And again, just to repeat what I said earlier, once he has got his nose in front and is able to stretch the legs of this 488 GTE car, which it has to be said, Daniel D'Amato and the CDP team appear to have really, really got the measure of the car and delivered very, very well with it. There is D'Amato going through on the inside of Gagliardini. And there, to the very right of your picture, is Daniele's father, Renato, watching on. And here's the start once again. Nelson, with a blistering start down the outside, was pushed out, to be fair. And then, going into this chicane, there was no love lost or centimetre spared between neither Andrea Gagliardini or Daniel D'Amato. One of the track markers went flying for Burton because these two weren't prepared to give a centimetre. There's Martin Nelson right at the top of the picture, running out on the dirty part of the circuit. Robin Jensen getting mugged at the start as well, but Martin Nelson in the end did manage to get back onto the tarmac and is suffering from not feeling particularly brilliantly this weekend. So the start is under investigation by race control. And now Andrea Gagliardini once again is having to defend from Bjorn Grossman, who's opened up a little bit of a margin over Philip Barron. So the fight is on for P2 once again. Here comes Bjorn Grossman on Andrea Gagliardini. Daniel D'Amato is just able to focus and concentrate on his own race and nailing every single turn. Here comes Bjorn Grossman up the inside to try and outbrake Andrea Gagliardini, and he does it. Runs just a little bit wide, but keeps 2 wheels within the track limit, so that's absolutely fair and fine. But Gagliardini is right alongside him once again now, but he will have the inside going into the next turn, which is going to be advantageous. And Philip Barron, probably like a viper ready to bite behind the two of them, can sense an opportunity here that the prey ahead he may be able to get the better of. So all the way around the outside goes Bjorn Grossman, and eventually does have to yield to Andrea Gagliardini. They're into this final sector, which is a very technical part of this circuit. There's Daniel D'Amato. Bjorn Grossman, has he got the job done? He's got the inside for the next turn, but trying to get the undercut here and go underneath him, and there's contact between Gagliardini and Bjorn Grossman. Bjorn Grossman has to run wide. He had no alternative but to do that, and Philip Barron is trying to buy into this. He's going to let these two fight and scrap together in the hope that they will go awry, and sure enough, that's exactly what has happened, because Philip Barron now is right alongside Bjorn Grossman. Here comes Andrea Gagliardini once again. Philip Barron out wide. Now it might be Sam Smith that might be able to take advantage of all this that's going on. He's not quite as close as he would like to be, but both Bjorn Grossman and Philip Barron are now ahead of Andrea Gagliardini. What an incredible start to this race. So there is Grossman now under pressure from Philippe Barron. As I mentioned just a couple of moments ago, there's a bit of history between these two. A superior exit off that turn from Philippe Barron puts him right alongside Bjorn Grossman now, and it's a drag race between the two of them, and Barron has got the better of Grossman. Extraordinary racing. Whilst all this is going on, Daniele D'Amato has got damn near 5 seconds up the road already. So it's Barron now for P2, Bjorn Grossman for P3, then it's Gagliardini, who now finds himself back there in P4, and he will be furious about that. So it played out exactly as I predicted that it would, in that as Bjorn Grossman and Andrea Gagliardini were fighting, that allowed Philippe Barron to buy into that battle, and buy into the battle very successfully as well. In the AM standings, it's Thomas O'Rourke that's leading. Chris Froggatt and Jens Liebhauser have the moment. So there's Barron for P2. As I say, some 5 seconds up the road is our race leader, Daniele D'Amato. And there is Jens Liebhauser then, who is currently running P9 in the race. Here we can see the start of all this once again. Grossman then, up the inside, carries quite a lot of speed, but is able to turn in well. And this was as they headed into the turn. And as I mentioned, Philippe Barron was the one that was really able to take advantage of it all. But he really had to stick it out here and found himself being nerfed off, to be honest. And Grossman and Gagliardini, as they were fighting together, it just played right into the hands of Philippe Barron, who was able to take advantage because he was there ready to seize the opportunity. Car number 1 of Bjorn Grossman is being told to give the position back to car number 20. That's an interesting call. Well, there is Philippe Barron, who's unaffected by that, but Bjorn Grossman now is ahead of Andrea Gagliardini and is being told by race control to give that position back to Andrea Gagliardini, which is what he does. He waves him through. Watch out now, Andrea, because he's going to be back at you, because he's going to want that position back. Not sure that I altogether agree with that, but I would not want to be a race director, truthfully. And possibly it's as well I'm not. But Bjorn Grossman has done what he's been told to do and he's given that position back. But now, by Jiminy, he is going to be after Andrea Gagliardini. So Gagliardini, for the moment, is back in P3. Barron, of course, has escaped up the road. Now, whether he can reel in Daniele D'Amato is another matter. I don't think so. Here comes Bjorn Grossman. Andrea Gagliardini tries to make his car as wide as possible to prevent any opportunity for Bjorn Grossman to get alongside. But Bjorn Grossman is a feisty German racer. And the reason he wears the number 1 on the car is because he is the current Trofeo Pirelli champion. He knows his way around the Ferrari, that's for sure. Although, of course, the 488 is a brand new car for this year. And now Alessandro Vezzoni, who is running in P5, he thinks he can get back in here, because Alessandro Vezzoni and Sam Smith side by side here, and that was a good overtake from Alessandro Vezzoni from the angle that we were able to see. So on board the various garages and pit walls, Rosso Corsa that we're with now. And I'll tell you what, there's a drive-through penalty for car number 70 overtaking outside the track limit at the start. Now, we saw Martin Nelson going very, very wide. Now, there may be an argument, and we didn't see it, maybe an argument that Martin Nelson was put into that position, but may also not be. So the race stewards have adjudged that he gained an advantage by overtaking outside the track limit on the start-finish straight, and he has a drive-through penalty. And just to add to his feeling not particularly 100% this weekend woes. Here comes Bjorn Grossman. Well, he's exploring every limit of the track limit in trying to find his way past what has become a very, very wide all-red Ferrari 488 of Andrea Gagliardini, as he metaphorically sticks his elbows out to try and deny Bjorn Grossman every opportunity. I think there's no question about it. Grossman has got the quicker car of the two. But, of course, he has got to find a way past, and he was adjudged to have found a way past illegally previously, therefore he's got to do it all over again, and also protect himself from Alessandro Vezzoni, who is lurking behind in P5. There's Barron in the all-green machine. Here comes Gagliardini then, and here comes Bjorn Grossman. Now, previously he's dived to the inside at about this point now. Not going to do it this time. Allows Gagliardini to turn in. Grossman remains behind. Does he get a better exit out of that chicane, which allows him to get closer to the Gagliardini car? I'm not sure. They're now going into the third sector of the circuit here at Paul Ricard. There, the rankings on the left-hand side. Who's done what and where? D'Amato, well, he's leading the race. Philip Barron is up 2 places. Down 1 is Gagliardini. Down 1 is Bjorn Grossman. But up 3 is Alessandro Vezzoni. Good driving from Alessandro Vezzoni. Bjorn Grossman then wide as he tried to get alongside the Andrea Gagliardini car and was unable to do so. Already we're reaching the halfway stages of this race. Well, the cork in the bottle here, I'm afraid to say, is Andrea Gagliardini, because I think Grossman is quicker. But, in fairness, Gagliardini has got track position, and therefore Grossman has got to try and find a way around, and he knows that the race steward is looking at him. So there's Alessandro Vezzoni. The back end of the Bjorn Grossman car really steps out. He's flashing his lights to try and just unnerve Andrea Gagliardini and just distract him momentarily. And if he can get Gagliardini, if he can provoke Gagliardini into making just a small error, that will be enough for Bjorn Grossman to potentially go through and go through legally. But look how close Alessandro Vezzoni is now to Bjorn Grossman. He's a real threat, I would suggest. And I'll tell you what, Sam Smith ain't far off the back of them either. So whatever happens with these two, the one that's in a really difficult position at the moment, in my opinion, is Bjorn Grossman, because he's trying to overtake, he's trying to attack, but he's also having to try and defend as well. So Gagliardini, once again, does everything right in terms of defence. He hops across the curbs, that's for sure. And onto the Mistral Straight once again, the fastest part of this 5.8 kilometre circuit here in Paul Ricard. Sam Smith on the back of Alessandro Vezzoni. He'll go to the outside of him, but isn't close enough to try and go around the outside of the chicane. There's Philip Barron, who's running in P2. Then there's this 4-strong battle at the moment for P3, which is between Andrea Gagliardini, that car, which is Bjorn Grossman. Then it is Alessandro Vezzoni and Sam Smith. A genuine 4-way battle going on here. And at the moment, Andrea Gagliardini has got the measure of all of them as he runs wide now, though, and Bjorn Grossman does get right alongside him. Now, Bjorn Grossman is well within his rights now to make his car as wide as possible, but that was a very smooth overtake there from Bjorn Grossman. And he has made it stick both through, well, all 4 cars run outside the track limits on the exit of that turn. But now Bjorn Grossman has got ahead of Andrea Gagliardini, and I reckon Alessandro Vezzoni is going to be able to have a go at Gagliardini as well, because Gagliardini's tyres have been worked and pushed very, very hard. He just ran a little bit wide there, and that's just exactly what Bjorn Grossman was looking for, just a single error. Just a space, and a 488 sized space, and that's what he found, and didn't need inviting into that space more than once. Tommaso Roca then is the best of the AM drivers. Is that Vezzoni that's gone round? Sure enough, Alessandro Vezzoni. So let's see that again. And Gagliardini as well. Well, that's changed the face of this race now. There's Philip Barron in P2. Here comes Bjorn Grossman in P3. That's elevated Sam Smith, yes, to P4, with Tommaso Roca and Chris Froggatt then, who are the P1 and P2 in the AM battle, because Gagliardini and Alessandro Vezzoni were turned around. So you can just see the Gagliardini car back in again. And Gagliardini has returned behind Jens Liebhauser and ahead of Martin Nelson. Martin Nelson, of course, has still got a drive-through penalty to serve. To my knowledge, he's not taken that yet. And to be fair, where he is on the order in P9, he can't have taken that drive-through penalty yet. So there is Bjorn Grossman. Here comes Sam Smith then. And Thomas O'Rourke is under pressure from Chris Froggatt. Chris Froggatt, who makes his Ferrari Challenge debut this year and really has been a shining star in the Ferrari Challenge. And he is chasing down Thomas O'Rourke now. This is the battle for P1 in the AMS. And you can see just a little bit of damage to the front of the Chris Froggatt car on one of those little aero flicks at the front. I don't know whether that will be affecting the handling of his Ferrari 488, but he has got Jens Liebhauser for company. Jens Liebhauser, also an AM driver. And Andrea Gagliardini is relegated now to P8 with Martin Nelson P9, although that's academic, and Alessandro Vezzoni P10. So around turn 16 now with just 12 and a quarter minutes remaining in the race. Thomas O'Rourke, P1. That's P1 in the AM category. And there is Thomas O'Rourke. Here comes Chris Froggatt now. So Chris Froggatt and Thomas O'Rourke are going to have a real fight for P1 in the AM honours at the moment. Thomas O'Rourke in the all-blue 488. Chris Froggatt in the yellow car, engineered and run by the FF Corsa team. Fantastic race in Valencia between Chris Froggatt and Martin Nelson in the AM battle. And there's a repeat of one of the great battles going on now as Chris Froggatt chases down Thomas O'Rourke in the number 97 car. A win in the AM category has thus far in the season eluded Thomas O'Rourke, so he would really love to get that monkey off his back and take the win here. Martin Nelson has gone into the pit lane to take and serve his drive-through penalty. So Martin Nelson is out of the equation now in terms of the front runners in the order now. There is the number 92 car of Sam Smith. So at the moment, Thomas O'Rourke is in a real British sandwich, isn't he? Because he has Sam Smith ahead of him and Chris Froggatt right behind him. And there is Bjorn Grossman, the German driver, who is running in P3. Philip Barron is P2. Daniel Diamato is shopping in Marseille as we speak because he's so far ahead, some 7.5 seconds in the lead of this race. Is that a very, very slow Andrea Gagliardini coming into the picture now? No, it is Ettore Contini that we can see. Ettore Contini is running in P11 with Christian Overgaard behind him. Behind Christian Overgaard is Joshua Cartu in P13. Then it's Robin Jensen, is P14. And there is Martin Nelson, who has returned following his drive-through penalty and finds himself down there in P15. Now, this is an interesting Inter-Sweden Autoropa battle because Robin Jensen is ahead of Martin Nelson. And Martin Nelson and Robin Jensen then both racing for the same team. And not far behind is Matt Tidstrand as well. So Martin Nelson definitely taking a different line to Robin Jensen through there. And it'll only be a question of time, I would think, that Martin Nelson will get past Robin Jensen. So very similar liveried cars, both of them being run by the Scuderia Autoropa team. And Martin Nelson driving with car number 70 this year, number 70, to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the great brand that is Ferrari. So down the start-finish straight downhill, and there's the best of the 458 drivers. That's Galapatar, the Turkish driver who in the 458 category has also not taken a win yet this year. He's had P2s and P3s. The wins have gone the way of Holger Hansson and Yoshiro Muro. So Galapatar could be on for his first. Absolutely sure I'm right in that. But oh, and Martin Nelson, Robin Jensen have come to grief together. The worst inter-team battle that you could find between the Scuderia Autoropa drivers. Please, 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 let's see a replay of that. So Martin Nelson was the loser out because Robin Jensen is back on track and he's ahead of Martin Nelson, but the two of them come together. And here it is. So Martin on the inside, and whoa, Robin just turned in, completely unaware of the fact that Martin Nelson was there. So there it is again. And in actual fact, what that did, that allowed Mats Ed Tigstrand to get ahead of both of them. So in the Scuderia Autoropa honours, well, the incident involving cars number 20 and 27 is under investigation. That's Gagliardini and Alessandro Vezzoni. The Rosso Corsa team look on. There's Philip Barron, who's in P2. And the incident involving cars 70 and 73 is under investigation as well. That'll be a topic of conversation in the Scuderia Autoropa garage as well, I would think. Philip Barron then, P2, who's nearly 8 seconds behind Daniele D'Amato, who is leading the race. You have to have some sympathies perhaps for Andrea Gagliardini, who, if you think, just 15 minutes or so ago was fighting with this man for the lead of the race, and now finds himself down there in P8. Daniele D'Amato it is that leads the race ahead of Philip Barron. And car number 27 gets a drive-through penalty, so Alessandro Vezzoni gets a drive-through penalty. There is the Alessandro Vezzoni car. We knew the incident was under investigation, the incident between himself and Gagliardini, and it's a drive-through penalty for the number 27 car of Alessandro Vezzoni. D'Amato, Philip Barron then 8 seconds, as near as makes no difference between the two of them. D'Amato again is just able to, I'm not going to say cruise his way home, because he's still lapping in the 211s. And in fairness, both he and Philip Barron are the only two drivers that are lapping in the 211s. Bjorn Grossman 212s, everyone else is 213s or 214-15s. So extraordinary pace once again from Daniele D'Amato. Didn't have it all his own way right at the very start of the race, though, that's for sure. And bear in mind that the start is still under investigation. We have just on 6 minutes of the race remaining. And at the back end of the Daniele D'Amato car steps out a little bit. And he leads the race for the CDP team, who have engineered a piece of perfection for Daniele D'Amato to drive. To be fair, he does have to drive the car, though. Has extraordinary pace. Super slow-mos then of the leader, first of all in the Trofeo Pirelli Pro category. And then in the AM category, it is Tommaso Rocca, who's running P5 in the race overall, but is leading the AM category. And in the 458s, it will be Mr. Galipata that we see leading the 458 category. So 5 minutes remaining, and number 70 gets a drive-through penalty. That's, by my reckoning, the second drive-through penalty for Martin Nelson. It's going from bad to worse, isn't it? For the man that looks so dominant in the AM Championship. Having a torrid time of it here. Didn't have a brilliant time in Budapest. Having a torrid time of it here in Le Castellet as well. So there you can see the drive-through being announced for car number 27. That's Alessandro Vezzoni, and that is car number 19 being driven by Per Nielsen, the Baron driver. Oh, and a spin and turn around for Per Nielsen then in the number 19 car. No contact involved in that. Did it all completely on his own. There is Tommaso Rocca then, heading towards his first victory in the AM category for 2017. The number 93 car of Chris Froggatt has eased off that battle with Tommaso Rocca for the moment, and is having to defend now from Andrea Gagliardini, who's found his way past Jens Liebhauser. And so now Gagliardini with the Chris Froggatt car ahead of him, which plays into the hands of Tommaso Rocca. That's meant that he's been able to get up the road. And 3.5 minutes of the race left. The margin between Tommaso Rocca and Chris Froggatt, some 1.6 seconds. And it's Sam Smith ahead of Tommaso Roca, the pro driver. So as they cross our commentary position, and top speed for Tommaso Roca through the speed trap, 251 kilometers per hour for the Rosso Corsa AM driver. So Daniele D'Amato then leading by 7.4 seconds. And the top speed standings, look at that, Mark Musso, 259 kilometers per hour. Chris Froggatt, 257.8. The same for Alessandro Bezzoni, and then it's Barron in P4 in terms of the top speed. Right, I did say there would be various discussions in the Scuderia Autoropa garage. Robin Jensen, first of all, with his side of the story. Martin Nelson has thus far refused to take his second drive-through penalty in the two that he's had, and actually the one that's kept out of the race stewards' headlines has been Mats Ek-Tidstrand, who is behind Martin Nelson at the moment in P9. So Martin Nelson at the moment is P8 in the AMS, but do bear in mind that he has this drive-through penalty hanging over him, which if he is not able to take it, then the race steward will either judge that he didn't have time to take it in the remaining laps, which I think he did, because you're supposed to take it within 3 laps of being notified. The question will be when Martin Nelson was notified and whether there were then 3 racing laps. It can be converted into a time penalty at the end of the race. I mean, I have seen situations where someone that has refused point blank to take a drive-through penalty and they've been excluded from the race and been black flagged, but we are on the final lap, so there is a question mark over when Martin Nelson was advised over that. It's a long lap, isn't it? It's, you know, 2 minutes and 13 seconds lap. So the man that has done it in 2:11s and 2:12s, though, as his father Renato looks on, is Daniele D'Amato, who has, once again, it's been a masterclass of how to get the best out of the 488 on any track surface, and he has delivered it. He didn't have it all his own way from the very start of the race, though. Andrea Gagliardini gave us some great entertainment in the first part of the race. Philip Barron has done his level best to chase him down, but he's not been able to do that. What I find absolutely extraordinary is that Philip Barron is very nearly 10 seconds ahead of Bjorn Grossman in P3. So Barron has got, theoretically, better pace than Grossman, certainly at the moment. Grossman has been involved in battles, of course, and he's lost some time somewhere along the way, that's for sure. But Daniele D'Amato, it is that he is heading towards the checkered flag, and it will be 5 out of 5 for Daniele D'Amato. It'll be the first win in AMS for Tommaso Roca, by my reckoning. Of course, Bjorn Grossman lost a lot of time behind Andrea Gagliardini. Final lap then, and Daniele D'Amato then theoretically cruising to another victory. There he is in the number 25 car as the final sequence of turns to do, and then we'll head towards the checkered flag too. As I say, make it 5 out of 5. The team are already on the catch fencing to say congratulations to the young man then as he heads towards the checkered flag. It is yet another win for Daniele D'Amato. He takes the win for the Trofeo Pirelli Pro category. P2 should go the way of Philip Barron. Sure enough, it does. P3 will go to Bjorn Grossman. There is Bjorn Grossman, the back end of his car crossing the timing line now. And before we see Sam Smith, who would make it P4. There indeed is Sam Smith. Then it is Tommaso Roca that takes the win in the AMS. P2 in the AMS will be Chris Froggatt, then it's Andrea Gagliardini, and then Jens Liebhauser once again on the podium for the AM category as well. Rounding out the top 10, it will be Mark Musso in P9, and Ettore Contini will take P10. So once again, success for the CDP team. Here comes the victor though in the 458s. It's going to be Galapatar in the number 242 car and the 458 Evo, which was the challenge car of last year. And you can see how much further behind Galapatar is. But at the moment, he is untroubled by the other 458 driver, Walt Dorenberg, who's a lap down. And here comes Galapatar. Then all he's going to do is the last sequence of turns through Sector 3. And then he will head to the checkered flag to at least give some pleasure to the Octane 126 team that engineer that car. Well, they will at least have a podium with Bjorn Grossman on P3. They'll have a winner in Galapatar then. The last few turns for him to do in the 458 car, and he will head towards the checkered flag. Good driving from Galapatar, who's a regular in the Ferrari Challenge. You can see the checkered flag ahead of him now, and Galapatar takes the 458 victory. Whew, what a race that was! And another victory for Daniel D'Amato. And a P2 for Philip Barron. P3 goes the way of Bjorn Grossman. And P4 for Sam Smith. P5 in the pros goes to Andrea Gagliardini. And here's the Ferrari show. So just a little snapshot of some of the Ferrari activities here. Across this weekend, there's the Philip Barron car coming into the P2 position in Parc Fermé. So then Bjorn Grossman being congratulated. And there we see the Tommaso Roca car. And there is Daniel D'Amato. And Jens Liebhauser to the very right of your picture. You can just see the number 44 car as the only driver to finish on the podium in each race across all classes. Interesting. So Jens Liebhauser doing a very good job. So the congratulations then all round. Tommaso Roca, very happy. Congratulated there by Philip Barron and the rest of the Rosso Corsa team. How pleased is he over that? There's Jens Liebhauser for Formula Racing. Must be blooming hot in those cars, I can tell you. And there is Chris Froggatt, who always, I mean, he doesn't break into a bead of sweat. You'll actually very often find him around the paddock with an overcoat on. And trying to listen in to some of the conversations, but of course most times they're in They're in Italian. Classification then in each of the categories, the top three. D'Amato, Baron, Grossman for Pro, Roker, Frogger, Liebhauser for Am, and Attar and Dorenberg for the 458. Beautiful blue sky. Everyone poses for photographs already. And we're standing by because the drivers will be ushered up to the podium in just moments from now. And on his way up to the podium, there is Galapata, there is Bjorn Grossman. There's Jens Liebhauser. And the Rosso Corsa team. Andrej Mladičić to the left of your picture there, who is very much the senior coordinator of the Ferrari Challenge. Does a great job, and they're the Formula Racing team standing by for the podium, which is situated just to the left of our commentary position here. The lady with the big hair there, right in the center of the picture, is Francesca from Formula Racing, who our cameraman always seems to find. And therefore, we felt it was only fair enough, rather than calling her the lady with the big hair all the time. It's not particularly pleasant, is it, of us? We thought we would go and find out name, and it is Francesca from the Formula Racing team. There's Bjorn Grossman then, who will take the third step of the podium. And Daniel D'Amato, who very nearly has his feet size welded to the top step of the podium as he takes 5 out of 5. There is Mr. Dupuy from the CDP team. And Galapata then, who wins in the 458 classification for last year's 458 Evo cars. National anthem time. So the anthem plays out then for Daniel D'Amato. So Francesco Bianchi, the president of Ferrari Europe and Africa, makes the trophy presentation. First of all to Bjorn Grossman, then it will be to Philippe Baron. And then, of course, to our race winner, Daniele D'Amato. Got quite a collection of those now.
From the team CDP.
Trophy presentation to the CDP team. Teo Meyer then from Pirelli, who we overtook this morning on his bicycle. He was making his way into the circuit.
Mr. Francesco Bianchi, head of Ferrari Europe and Africa, the winner of Race 458.
Galapata then will receive his trophy now.
And Theo Meyer for Galapata, the winner of 458 Trophy Pirelli.
Theo Meyer once again making the Pirelli presentation to the winner in the 458 category.
And together, Gail, the first step of the podium, together for the first step of the podium.
This will be a bit tricky to manage as they all try and get onto the top step of the podium. For the photographs before the champagne will be uncorked, and in traditional motor racing fashion will be liberally sprayed across everyone that happens to be in the podium area. Bjorn Grossman is going to win that race first of all, and sure enough he does. D'Amato really does get it, and D'Amato fights back, and Philip Barron is also involved in that as well. Sorry, turned into a commentator then. In the pro category, in Super Slow-Mo, it was Bjorn Grossman for P3. It was Philip Barron for P2. And another win for Daniele D'Amato. It wasn't a lights to flag victory for Daniele D'Amato, because at one point Andrea Gagliardini had his nose in front. So the start of the race was something really rather extraordinary. And then replay of the celebrations up there on the podium with overalls that I would think in the ambient temperature here in Le Castellet will dry really rather quickly. In the Drivers' Championship then, Daniele D'Amato has 113 points over Philip Barron, who's 83. Fabio Lima, who's missing this weekend, on 81 points. Then it's Sam Smith on 76 points. So, Am podium is next. Jens Liebhauser, Chris Froggatt. Tommaso Rocca is going to jump for joy on the top step of the podium. Well, he dances before he even gets there.
And we're ready for national anthem.
That's it. Big clap as Lavinia from the Rosso Corsa team looks on, and Francesco Bianchi is about to make the trophy presentation first of all to Jens Liebhauser and then to Chris Froggatt, who, despite him standing on the second step of the podium, is still taller than everyone else up there on the podium. Tommaso Rocca absolutely delighted with that. And Rosso Corsa then taking another trophy to add to what is quite a collection in their showrooms in Milan. And there Tommaso Rocca collects the Pirelli trophy as well.
All together now on the podium, all together on the step number one of the podium.
Now,
up your trophy, up your trophy.
Up your trophy, please, as Michele says. For the photographs, and then it will be Rocca, trust me, that will be first with the champagne. Believe me, he will just be more happy than anybody else. Oh, I think it was a dead heat between himself and Jens Liebhauser. But Tommaso Rocca is just spraying with abandon then. The next race for Coppichelle is race 2 tomorrow at 10:50 GMT. Make sure you join us for that. That will be an extraordinary race if it's anything like that Trofeo Pirelli race has been this afternoon. What a race that was, particularly the start, something to savour. Busy paddock there, as you can see. It is the Ferrari's 70th anniversary. And we're looking at the top three then in the AM category of Trofeo Pirelli. Jens Liebhauser, P3, Chris Froggatt, P2, and P1, of course, going the way in the AM category of Tommaso Roca, who enjoyed his time up there on the podium in terms of his celebrations, and why not? There we go. That's how he did enjoy those celebrations. Great racing from the Trofeo Pirelli drivers, that's for sure. And in the Drivers' Championship in the AM category, Jens Liebhauser on 103 points, just 4 points ahead of Martin Nelson, who of course had a torrid time of it today. Chris Froggatt is creeping up behind Martin Nelson on 80 points as well. So that's the way it looks in the AM Drivers' Championship, ahead of race 2 to come tomorrow. So it was a race then that delivered so much action right at the very start. The tension mounted, and as the safety car peeled off and the start was underway, the lights went green, and Andrea Gagliardini and Daniel D'Amato absolutely side by side, with Andrea Gagliardini getting his nose in front going into turn number 1. There was no love nor centimetres lost between the two of them, as Christian Berchinger from Octane 126 relaxed as he looked on. As D'Amato and Andrea Gagliardini continued to battle, but eventually Daniel D'Amato did get his nose in front, and once he'd done so, he was not going to be caught. Bjorn Grossman went through on Andrea Gagliardini, and Philip Barron was just waiting to join in that battle as well. Gagliardini involved right in the mix of everything that was going on during the course of that race, as was Alessandro Bezzoni, fighting here with Sam Smith as well. Alessandro Bezzoni would be involved in a spin out later on in the race, but Daniel D'Amato, once he got his nose in front, was not going to be defeated, and he did take win number 5 in the season of 2017. And Tommaso Roca took the AM honours. And Tommaso Roca was pretty happy about that. So there we have it. Next Trofeo Pirelli race comes live from Le Castellet tomorrow. And, well, the battle will recommence. Make sure you join us for that. Thanks to everyone here. And join us for the next 2 races in the Ferrari Challenge from Le Castellet tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.